Hey guys, welcome back. This is Ecstasy again with another video. Today I just want to talk to you about the phone that you keep seeing all over the banners, and the phone that's on the TV, and the phone that's at Best Buy, and the phone that's in your friend's hand. We're going to talk about this $850 beast, and we'll see if it's really worth buying. So without further ado, let's get this bad mamma gem on the road. Alright guys, no flagship phone is complete without top of the line hardware, and the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus does not disappoint. On the left we have the Bixby button. We have the volume rocker. We have the power button on the right. We have our front-facing camera, our LED. It's full RGB color LED. We have the iris scanner and we have proximity sensor. Coming down south, we have a 3D touch home button. Only the home button is 3D touch. You won't get that with the back button or the recents button, and you won't get it all over the screen like you will with the Apple iPhone. Looking down on the bottom, you see a USB-C charging port. You also see the 3.5 millimeter auxiliary jack. Only one speaker. We do not have stereo speakers on the S8 Plus. Flipping over to the back, we have a heart rate sensor, the 12.2 megapixel rear-facing camera, and we have the fingerprint scanner. We have the Snapdragon 835 chipset built upon the 10 nanometer manufacturing process. It is promised to deliver 30% more efficiency, all while consuming 25% less power. Powering this, we have a 3500 milliampere hour battery. We also have 4 gigs of LPDDR4 RAM, as well as 64 gigs of internal storage. If that isn't enough storage for you, we also have expandable storage inside the SIM tray with a micro SD card. Looking at the cameras and the video recorder, we have an 8 megapixel on the front and a 12.2 megapixel on the back, both of which are at 1.7 aperture. The rear-facing camera has dual pixel autofocus technology with optical image stabilization. It's promised to bring us better low-light pictures with less noise. Same as the Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge. Looking at pictures, the pictures taken with these are actually pretty crisp, especially in the light. If you get to the low-light ones, you do see a little bit of noise, but they aren't bad. Focusing with the autofocus is rather easy. You just tap on the screen and it will give you your focus. If you want to do video, all you have to do is just hit the record button and you're recording video. If you want to do slow motion, the phone is capable of doing slow motion video, 720p at 120 frames per second. Just swipe from the left and hit slow motion and you'll be taking slow motion videos. The phone is also capable of hyperlapse videos at 1080p. Taking a look at one of the biggest features of the phone, the Infinity display. As you can see, we have a much smaller forehead and a much smaller chin, and almost no bezels on the side. It does have the rounded off corners as well as the edge display. Both the S8 and the S8 Plus have this edge display, and I gotta say, Samsung's implementation this go around on the edge display versus last year's S7 Edge is way better. Last year when you went to type on anything, you would move over and you would find yourself hitting keys over here like the enter or the backspace trying to reach the QWERTY side of the keyboard. I have not run into that. I think they have finally dialed in on a good tone for the curvature of the edges. This is a WQHD Plus screen. However, you can adjust the screen resolution from HD Plus to Full HD to WQHD. The colors are nice. They're vibrant, especially for the Super AMOLED display that this comes with. I have to say, out of all the phone screens I looked at, Samsung's Super AMOLED still remains the best. It is great under incredibly bright conditions, and the colors are still vibrant and the contrast is incredible. You will not be disappointed when looking at this display. All right, guys, so let's talk about the things that I really like about this phone. First and foremost, the feel in your hand is out of this world. It is a great feel. You do not pick this phone up and think that it is cheaply made. Between the aluminum housing and the front and back Corning Gorilla Glass 5, this phone feels premium, and it ought to because it has quite the premium price tag. I have to say that I'm really glad that Samsung has finally dialed in the 2 edges on the left and right side so that it is no longer a hindrance and it's helpful. And I really feel that the bezel-less design would be taken away from this phone if we didn't have these edge displays. Another really great thing that I like about this phone in particular is that the difference between the S8 and the S8 Plus is only size. you don't get any storage or RAM or speed impacts from choosing the size of the phone. So I have to say that because I have big hands, I have to go with the S8 Plus. But I would be concerned if I had smaller hands, thinking, you know, I don't want to be able, I'm not going to be able to use the phone in a one-handed mode. And I don't believe that is the case with this. Something else that I really enjoy about this phone is the 18.5 by 9 inch aspect ratio for the screen. It makes operating this phone in a one-handed fashion much more natural, much easier to do, much more manageable. Coupling the fingerprint sensor gestures that you can select under options to bring down the notification bar makes operating this phone with one hand really great. The only gripe that I think I would complain is reaching the soft control buttons at the bottom still tends to be a pain, in which holding the phone with one hand and maneuvering or manipulating with the other is still almost required. Okay, let's talk about the things that I don't like. Let's start off with this button right here, the Bixby button. Pressing the Bixby button launches Samsung's Bixby software. It's just another virtual assistant. You know, when this phone launched, it doesn't even have voice controls. Why would I want to use this over the Google Assistant? In fact, I've already learned Google Assistant. Why do I want to relearn another virtual assistant? One of the things that I dislike about this button, really, over everything else, is that I just cannot remap it. I would love to make this button do other things. It's wasted. The potential of this button right here could be used to launch SMS or the camera, or take camera photos, or do a number of things that is very useful for the buyer. And unfortunately, Samsung, it almost seems as if they forced it upon us to use their Bixby assistant. And while it may be great, it already puts a sour taste in my mouth because I'm forced to do it and it's not my choice. Another thing that I dislike, and I think a lot of people have said the same thing, is simply the fingerprint sensor placement. Is it the worst in the world? Absolutely not. But that's because I'm right-handed. Finding the fingerprint sensor isn't too hard with my right hand, and I don't think I'll have too many problems training my hand to learn where it's at. However, the minute I try to use it in a left-handed way, I find that I have to stretch my finger a significant more amount. And oftentimes it gets confused with the camera itself because they share the same shape. Since they share the same shape, I often find myself trying to press and use the camera as the fingerprint sensor. It kind of diminishes the quality of my photos later on with all the oils and stuff from my finger. It brings to question why Samsung would have put the fingerprint sensor to the right instead of just use the standard quo right here in the middle. If you don't have it on the front and you have it on the back, why didn't you do what everyone else did and put it right there under the camera? It's easy to find. When it comes to the Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus, this phone it's great. If you're worried about spending the $850 that this phone costs, but you need to stay up with the latest and greatest and cost is not nearly as big of a factor, this phone will not disappoint. It really does live up to the Galaxy name, and Samsung has done a great job. You really won't be disappointed. The screen is great. It's clear. You won't have any major issues with the Edge display. And I don't think that the fingerprint issue that a lot of people have been complaining about is significant enough to keep somebody from purchasing it. If you're left-handed, you may want to test it out a little bit and see if it's right for you. But if you're right-handed, I don't think that you're going to have very many issues with it at all. There are some things to note. If you pick up the phone in the States, it does have a locked bootloader with the Snapdragon 835. If you pick up an international version with the Exynos 8895 chipset, you will get an unlocked bootloader, so rooting and custom recoveries are definitely a possibility. If I had to recommend this phone to people, I definitely would. Tell me what you guys think. Is this phone worth recommending? Is this phone worth the price tag? Would you use things like the heart rate monitor or the Edge display, or do you think they're just gimmicks? Is the iris scanner from the Note 7 that came with it, is it even worth it? Just leave some comments down below and tell me what you guys think about the phone in general. I plan on reviewing the Honor 9, the Essential phone, and hopefully the OnePlus 5 as well, and we'll do some comparison videos and we'll see how they all stack up to each other. If you guys liked the video, hit the thumbs up button. If you didn't like the video, hit the thumbs down button. Hit the subscribe button if you want to support my my reviews and my channels. And that's it, guys. We'll see you next time.